Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah. Let us open up in prayer.
Yes.
Everyone stand. Hallelujah. Father, thank you so much for this wonderful day that you have come and brought us together to come in this house that you have blessed. We ask that your Ruach just flow freely and that anything that has been brought up will just be dissolved and that we could feel your Ruach move freely between each and every one of us. Father, give us the true wisdom of your word so we could eat the meat and not just drink the milk. We want to get deeper. We want to have more of experience with you. And Abba, we can only do that through your Ruach. So as we come, we ask that you just give us the revelation that we need to have. Show us what your prophets, what your people, what the Hamashiach had to suffer and go through to get us where we need to be with you. As we have been atoned for. What a blessing it is that we can have this relationship with you, the creator of the universe, who just watching your hand move brings blessing upon each and every one of us. So continue to build your temple, continue to build your people, unite us in the spirit and the mind, so that we could be that light unto this world. In the name of Yahuwah, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. So, let us open the sound of the shofar. All right.
I was still left out.
Hallelujah. So, do you know the blessing?
No, I don't know the blessing.
Okay. So, ready? Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu melech haolam asher gedeshnu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'shmo kol shofar. Blessed are you, Yahuwah, our Elohim, King of the universe, who has commanded us to hear the voice of the shofar. So, how's everybody doing? Anything new?
Okay.
Good.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to be teaching on. Is that one? Hold on, people's. Shabbat Shalom, everybody on the cameras. Look at that. Pretty cool.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, we're going to get started. So, what does the scriptures truly teach us? Does anybody have an answer?
Life.
Life. Truth.
Faith.
History.
Faith. History. Nice. Wow.
Blood.
Love.
Kindness. The way.
The way. Okay. So, to tie that on together, what is the way? What is love? What is life? What is it?
That's his word. No him.
I love it.
Knowing him.
So, on a more superficial, what do we see? What do we see over and over in the stories with the patriarchs, with King David, Yahushua Mashiach even? What do we see that they all have some very similarities, very close connections?
They walk. All of them walk in the same way. That Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac.
Yes. So, let's make a list. Does everybody have a pen and paper?
Yes.
Okay. Let's write out some names. Right? Adam, Abel, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, King David, Yahushua, and the disciples. You ready?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's not necessary. Or do you want it? Okay. I have.
So, as we see, Adam got kicked out of the garden and had to toil by the sweat of his brow to grow food. Abel got killed, righteous Abel, straight away. What happened with Noah?
When he was chosen to make the ark.
Yeah,
He was the righteous one.
he was righteous. And what did he have to experience?
Everybody thinking he was crazy because he was the voice of the Father.
Yeah, he had to experience a big old flood that killed everybody, right?
Yeah, and but people in that time,
Yeah,
because of
Exactly. What about Abraham,
he was the first Hebrew.
the first Hebrew?
He
Huh?
had to sacrifice. He left family and everything to receive Father. No?
Yep. Exactly, I love that. He had to leave his father's house. He endured famines. He loses his wife to Pharaoh, and the book of Joshua, I think, says for 2 years. He gets circumcised at the age of 99. That's quite a feat. He sends off his child Ishmael, his firstborn, and he has to take Isaac to get sacrificed. Right? But we know, yeah, it's the provider. And then Isaac, what happens to Isaac in this same pattern? What does Isaac have to experience?
To be the sacrifice.
To be the sacrifice.
He
Yeah.
also left his house.
He left his house. He endured famines. He also loses Rebecca, his wife, for a time.
And Sarah, her mom.
Sarah, her mom,
His
his mom passes away.
Yeah.
And then what about Jacob?
He has to leave his
Many
house.
troubles.
He loses his house, he gets many troubles. What was that?
His brother wants to kill him.
His brother.
He gets taken for a ride by his uncle.
For 21 years.
All of his curses turn into blessings.
All of his curses turn into blessings in the end, right? He wrestles a messenger, getting his hip dislocated, and having to travel like that. Imagine the thorn in his side. Right? Having his daughter get raped. His son's going to slaughter a whole city and having to leave in fear again. Having Joseph, his favorite son, sold to merchants, but being told he was eaten by wild beasts. Let's look at Joseph. What did Joseph have to endure?
Oh,
Prison.
hated from his brothers.
Hated from his brothers, by his brothers.
He got a cup of colors.
He faced a lot
Is
of
that enduring? Or?
Joseph.
That's a good thing. So when do we see a pattern that's forming?
Big troubles.
Troubles, suffering,
Right.
He also tribulation. He also
Trials and
leaves his house.
tribulations.
Yeah.
Huh?
He also leaves his house.
He also leaves his house. Not willingly this time.
No.
But
And great promises.
we do see great promises to all of these people so far.
Great promises, but difficulties to reach them.
Right? And he gets put into prison for doing righteousness.
Yeah.
And he gets forgotten there after he helps one of the guys, right? What about King David?
Wars. Wasn't he?
Man of war.
Yeah.
Also,
Persecution. Persecution.
Killed. He was a murderer.
Yeah.
He was an adulterer. I mean, he had a lot of problems. His son Absalom stole his kingship.
Yeah.
And he almost lost it all. He went through serious troubles as well.
We see.
But he was also a man of faith because he believed that the Father was a forgiver father, so he always asked for forgiveness.
Right.
And he did the Shabbat.
Yeah.
He went back.
He was quick to repent.
Exactly. What about Yahushua, our Messiah? Yeah.
Rejected obedience son.
Well, he did nothing wrong and yet was persecuted.
Yeah.
It was the lamb.
Who did reject it?
Perfectly hung
The
on a tree,
sacrificial lamb.
to be whipped, and all those beatings he took for us, and everything he passed.
Yeah.
Exactly. So everyone in Yah's plans endures trials and tribulations, right?
Yes.
They are witnesses to things happening in the world that are not good, and they have to overcome. So let's look at this word "sar," which is the word being used for tribulation most often. This word is actually also adversary, because it's an adversary that's going to come and give you tribulation. The definition of tribulation, does anybody know it? It is distress or suffering resulting from oppression or persecution. Also, a trying experience. You go through tribulation when you're trying to do something new and you don't really know what you're doing, right? It's a trying experience, like opening up a new business, for example. I find it very interesting with everything that we have been learning for the last few months with John. We see how all this relates to lawful terms. That's just a little side note. You go before a tribunal, you go to trials, and we see these words in all this scriptural things. There's a very good reason for that. So, to focus on the word sar, it's a sadi and a resh. That's how you spell it, right? And all of you who know me know I like to do word studies like this and get deeper within the word. And so, we're going to try to break it open. So we're going to look to see how we see an adversary or tribulation in this word sar, which is just a sadi and a resh, the root meaning. And what do we see? Does anybody see anything? Or do you want to go straight to mine?
I see Yeshua, the seed, the beginning of everything.
Having to go through tribulations, right? Even the head of the righteous path.
I think the adversary gets to us through our thoughts, and he tries to mess with our mind, and then once we start producing those negative thoughts or having those about ourselves or about others or the situation, then it steers us off of the path, and then we start stumbling.
Yeah. I like that.
But also, I do see that, there's a journey, and if we are putting him as the head, our thoughts, he's what's in our mind, it's going to lead us to righteousness too, even though there's a tribulation. So,
even through tribulation, staying on the righteous path and keeping our head on Yahushua, or on the first, the right thoughts will help us overcome.
Amen.
I like that. That's cool. Does anybody know if we're live?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're live. So, the word what I came up with is, what I see in this is that there has been an adversary hunting us since the beginning.
Amen.
Since the beginning of creation, there has been one that has fallen and has been coming against Yah's people, against Adam and Eve, and going forth from the beginning. I think that's very clear as we see in all the stories over and over. We see it, the beginnings. But if we can do what what the writer of Hebrews says in Hebrews 12:2, if we continue looking to the princely leader and perfecter of our belief, Yahushua, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, having despised the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim, we will be able to overcome.
Amen. Yeah.
So, all all the people before, that they knew this, and that's what they were keeping their eyes on. That's why they kept going forward on the path that Yah has called them to, right? They were able to endure, to suffer. Suffering is also enduring something. So you suffer somebody, you suffer this world that we live in because you know it's not going to last forever, and we know it's just for a time, and that there's going to be a rebirthing. So even Yahushua in the flesh, Yahushua Mashiach, had to suffer. Truly the only one who had no sin suffered. Everyone else, they had sinned. They were born in the imperfect condition. Yahushua, being conceived of the Ruach HaKodesh, being perfect, endured the stake for the joy that was set before him. You and me.
Hallelujah.
We are the joy set before him. So even if our beloved Messiah had to come and suffer, how much more you who are in sin? You who are living in a world full of sin. Listen to what Jacob, Yahushua's brother, the leader of the first century congregation, says in James 1. My brothers, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the proving of your belief works endurance.
Yes, amen.
We are going to experience trials, tribulations, hurt, hate, hardship, whatever you want to call it. But listen to what Shaul does in his congregation in Acts 14:22. He's strengthening the beings of the taught ones, encouraging them to continue in the belief, and that through many pressures, trials, tribulations, we have to enter the reign of Elohim.
Amen. Yes.
He's encouraging them.
Good.
These are new believers, if you read it in Acts. And he's showing them that we have to go through trials and tribulations.
Amen.
Because that will get us to the kingdom. So there's 3 ways to overcome any trial or any tribulation. I think. Or 3 steps that are said. The first step I would say is keeping your eyes on Yahushua. Right? That's what we read in Hebrews. Keep your eyes to our princely leader and the perfecter of our belief. What perfects our belief?
Faith.
Faith. But enduring the trials and tribulations that we read in James. We have to count it all joy when you enter trials and tribulations. Joy, like Yahushua's, his joy was with us, right? That's why he was able to endure. We had to have joy to endure for him. And knowing that through many pressures, we had to enter the kingdom of Elohim. It's that simple. Keep your eyes on the Messiah, on the prize. When we know something's going to come against us, because we know it's going to come against us, or when we see the destructions going on in the world, those are not things that should get us depressed, sad, deterred, stagnant. We should continue onward to the prize, which is the kingdom of Yahuwah.
Amen.
Yes, please interact as much as you want. I have no problems. I love questions.
So we know that tribulations is hard work. I mean, it's hard. How can we do it with joy?
What do you think? You've gone through some stuff.
Oh, I thought you wanted to give me an answer. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. To me, it means that we're getting a veil removed from our perception. Sometimes we think that things should be a certain way, and so that's our perception. That's what we see it. But when we keep our eyes on the Father, He's teaching us new ways, because He says, my ways are different than yours. So as I've encountered my tribulation, it has been hard, but as I keep my trust in Him, even though I can't see at times, but I still trust Him. He is with me, because definitely I keep diving in the Word, fighting a good fight with the Word, with worship. And at the end, I come out smiling, because He's shown me why I had to go through what I went through, who I am now that He has shown me things, and I think I come out stronger.
So I think the clear answer is knowing that by going through trials and tribulations that you are going to get stronger. I think that's a beautiful way to get the strength of Yah in you. Knowing that it's like you go to the gym, you have to lift weights. You don't, I mean, some people want to do it, but it doesn't feel good at the moment, even though you do get endorphins rushing. And even when you go through trials and tribulations, you get those endorphins. You're in a situation where that, it makes you have to do something out of the ordinary. And that, I think, is very important to be walking in Yah's ways. We can't be so ritualistic, or what's a better word? Conform to what we've experienced. Yeah, we have to get out of our comfort zone. And then we see the power of God move in a way that we wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Yeah, that's true.
But knowing that we have a goal, knowing that He's going to overcome one way or another, I think is that encouragement that we can have the joy in Him. We see a big old mountain, it's just a little tiny thing to So I think that's a good way to keep the joy seeing it. Anybody else?
Also, because we passed many tribulations already. Right?
Already, yes.
So looking back and see that He was faithful in that tribulation that we already overcome, that gives us the joy and the strength to overcome the next tribulation that is coming, because we know that He is with us.
Exactly.
He will make our character more strong.
I like that.
Like Him.
Very good. And knowing by doing this, we will enter the kingdom of Elohim. What's the difference between a kingdom and a reign? How do you guys picture the difference? I have a picture in my head. I can explain.
Action.
You said action. I like that. Like a kingdom seems like it's a place far out that you have to go to a kingdom. But in a reign seems like you're part of a reign, right? So you enter the reign of Elohim, and you're already, by doing it, you're in the reign. And so I think that's a better word, is reign. And you're reigning, we're told we're going to reign with Yahushua. So I like the word reign. And so it's action, is by doing it now and now waiting for a future. But we are waiting for the future to descend. It's so beautiful. So, because we keep talking about joy, it is no coincidence that there needs to be joy through tribulation. The sages have taught that the Shekinah, can only dwell in a temple of joy. Have you guys heard that? I know some of you have.
Repeat that again.
The Shekinah, the glory, the eminence of Yahuwah, dwells in the temple of joy, and we are the temple. And instead, they have taught that if you're depressed, that the Shekinah would not be there. Is the Shekinah the same as the Holy Spirit? I'm not so sure. That's a good question. You gotta look that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we need to have joy, because it is a joyful thing going to the temple, going to the presence of Yah, right? And it said in Deuteronomy that they would go and give the offerings, and they have to give it in joy, and in simcha, and Yahuwah will receive it in simcha, in joy. So when you give an offering, that's also another type of suffering, right? You're giving something up that you may need, and those are the kind of offerings He wants, right? You're doing something to rely even more on Him when it's already tough. And so, if you do it with joy, He's going to come and dwell within you. So the definition of joy is the emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune, or by the prospect of processing what one desires. What do we desire?
What is it desire?
To be right.
What do we
In the
desire?
kingdom of Elohim.
Huh?
To be in the kingdom of Elohim.
To be in the kingdom. So if that's what our soul desires, doesn't anything before that doesn't seem like it's going our way, should that bring us down? But if we know if we overcome these things and we continue on the path that we're on, we're going to enter the kingdom of our Elohim. Wouldn't that bring joy? Doesn't that bring joy? Like even now?
Yes.
And so, let's look at this word simcha. Joy. We spell it with a shin, mem, ket, and a hey. Does anybody want to break it open?
Yeah.
Simcha.
Ruben said no.
Ruben?
I heard him talking. Yeah.
Yeah, Ruben?
Can you just read the screen?
Whatever you want. Try. You know what we do here, right? We look at each letter, which has more than one meaning, and we try to capture the word joy or simcha with certain definitions of each letter to bring it all together and to give us a wider understanding.
I see that if we stay through the suffering, we stay so close to the Father, having faith, and by loving Him, the love means that we are in fire for Him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the shin. So He keeps us fighting to go forward. You know, and men, that is the water of His chaos, His blood, is the warmth, is the mind. We have a lot of bad thoughts where we sin. You know, the sin is start in the mind, and also the war means chaos. You know, so if we because we are in that place. We need to fight all those the suffering, the chaos that is in the world, and also in our mind with our thoughts. And head is the fence, is the one that separates from the Father, from Elohim. So if we sin, we keep sinning, then we are out of the fence, out of the. Yeah.
You got it. So we got family come in and
Yeah.
it's a whole
So
thing.
it's the fence that separates us from the Father, and that's what I see. That's the fence that we have in our life. You know, that if we do the things of the world that separate us from the Father, which is life, and that's why we have Torah, who's teaching us how to be alive in the Father. And He is Yeshua, the one that revealed, you know, He's the breath who's keeping us alive.
And that brings joy.
Yeah, that brings joy. Yeah.
That brings joy, yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah.
I found true joy once I gained revelation of the Father, and once I realized that His blood removed me from the chaos of the world, that separated me from the fire, from like the heat, from the destruction of the world. I think that's when I found joy, when I realized that I was in His fence, in His protection, where He can go ahead and give me clean water, and give me life, and refresh me every day. That's when I found joy.
Nice. Yeah.
Joy, for what this says to me, is that we get to eat of and drink of Yehusha, and then and through Him, and that joy that we get through Him it enables us to be separate, to be separate in this world by following his ways. And then through that, we achieve realization, revelation, life, and all the things that Hay talks about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
It's good. I love it.
Obviously, that ties in very well with what I've got, which is when you are getting consumed by the chaos of this world, but you finally get the revelation that you have been separated from the world, and that nothing out there can touch your ruach, your spirit, your breath, then you will have the true joy of Yahuwah.
Amen.
Which, all of this actually reminds me of a little testimony both Bianca and I have that happened on Sunday. Yeah. So on Sunday, we were coming back from a restaurant and from LA, and we were following the directions, and I was supposed to turn here, and I missed the freeway, and we kept going, and I was supposed to turn another time, and I missed it again. And I think I missed it one more time, but I don't know. Did I? 3? Well, I missed it 3 times. It was crazy. And finally we're on the right track. As we're going, get onto the on-ramp, there's a car in the middle. It's already 10:30 at night. And there's a car stopped in the middle of the on-ramp, well, in the lane. And as we're driving by, I was able to get out, and we look, and there's some guy pushing the car. And I look at Bianca, I'm like, should we stop? She's like, yeah. So we go, and there's nowhere to stop. The side of the is just the rail, you can't stop there, and on the other side there's like a little opening of that much, like half of a lane, less than half of a lane. So we go forward and we're looking, finally get a little nook where we're able to sneak in and just park right there. So we get out and we start jogging down and we're walking fast and to see if we get help. And we have to cross the street it's an on-ramp, so there's 2 lanes. And we cross over, and there's this lady who has her car stopped right there. She ran out of gas. And the guy is trying to push her an incline, and he wasn't even moving, I don't think. And so she was panicking. She didn't know what to do. She's like, I've never done this before. So we're like, it's okay. And we told her, just hold on to the brake, put it in neutral, and we're going to push it. And we're going to push it to the side. And finally, we're doing it. And as we're doing it, you have cars coming. Most of the cars are seeing us, and we're going. And this one car doesn't see us, and he's coming fast. And I just go and I grab Bianca and the guy, and we kind of go to the side, and he swerves out and almost loses control as he passes us. So we go, all right, so I tell her, all right, hurry up. And we go, we push it to the side as fast as we can. I told her to park it, get out of the car, and just wait. And they already called the cops. And as we're about to leave, I just say something like, Yahuwah is, he's our creator, and he loves you guys, he's going to protect you, don't worry. And she just started crying. And she's like, I just finished praying that he would send someone to help us. And we come out of nowhere. And so that just, that brought a lot of joy. And you could have just seen what she was going through, a trial and tribulation of her own, and seeing she took the time to even stop and pray and just ask the Father for some provision. And he answers prayers, and he's awesome. And then, so that's awesome for her, but for both Bianca and I, we're like, all right, we got to be used, it's such a powerful feeling. And so, which actually kind of brings me to another point, which is if you're feeling stagnant or if you're not feeling content with your walk, and it's most likely because you're not walking in your anointing and you're not walking to do what Yahuwah has called you to do. And that's what we need to always be alert. We can't just be stuck in a book and reading if we're not going out there doing what He has called us to do. And be something I love, I've heard once, and I love it, is don't wait for a miracle. You go be the miracle. Go let Yah use you, and you'll see more mighty things than you can if you're just, waiting on somebody else. And so, rising of the scripture, Isaiah 34:14, turn away from evil and do good, seek shalom and pursue it. I love it. And truly deny yourself. That's what it comes down to. You got to deny what you think is right. Yeah. We know what is right through the scriptures, and I think a lot of times we talk ourselves out of it, and that's what we got to not do. And so, especially us who have, I would say, a deeper understanding than most, we get more into it. We get in a different ditch, and we do more inside things and not go out like some Christians do and proclaim it, which is always bothersome to me. I say I want to do it, and then for some reason I don't. So when He does use me, it's always a blessing. But even that brings me to this: is Mashiach in you?
Yes.
So, is Mashiach in you?
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. So, what does it mean to have Mashiach in you, Ruben?
To do what's right in His eyes, not mine.
What does that entail?
Follow His instructions, His Torah.
I like it. That's good. And if you're doing that, His Torah and His instructions is what teaches us how to be loving to our neighbors and how to love Yah with all our heart, mind, and soul, and strength.
Yes.
So you have to have both. It's not just pretending to love somebody because you love them and it's all emotional. No, there's a way to do it, and we find that in the Torah.
Amen.
And so Mashiach in you, I think this is it is the only revelation it is the greatest revelation, I would say, is Mashiach in you. He's in you. The creator of the heavens and the earth, the Most High, the living Elohim is in you.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Amen.
So, let us read some of these scriptures. Colossians 1:26. Anybody want to read it? Yeah.
The secret which has been hidden from ages and from generations, but now has been revealed to his set apart ones, to whom Elohim desired to make known what are the riches of the esteem of the secret among the Gentiles, which is Mashiach in you, the expectancy of esteem.
Right. And another one, Romans 13:14.
I can read it, but put on the Master Yahushua Mashiach and make no provision for the lust of the flesh.
So how do you do that? So is it we need to realize we have the anointing. Mashiach is anointing, right? Mashiach is Yahushua HaMashiach is the anointed. But if the anointed is dwelling within you, what does that mean?
You have the same anointing.
You have the same anointing. I love it. You come on, you have something. You spoke some similar. Come on, Robert.
Oh, I totally agree. That we have the anointing of Him if He's within us, and the ability to do the same things even greater than He did. That's what He told us.
Exactly.
So
Do the same things and even greater things that He did. So we need to realize that, and that's where it gets fun. Once you start walking in that anointing and realizing these things, that's when we'll have the kingdom here. That's when we will bring the kingdom. He has already brought it when He was in their midst. Does He not say that? And He has called us to do the same. So again, we need to stop waiting for something and start doing what He has called us to do. And so another one is John 4. You are of Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because He who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Again, He's in us. Elohim is in us. We have overcome this world. We are in the world, but not of the world.
Yeah.
And so, with that, we should not fear. The world cannot touch your spirit. The diseases, the death that you're experiencing with your friends that are dying, that aren't in the walk, and those that are. We should not let these things bring us down and take our shalom away and take our joy away, because you are a reflection. You are the reflection of the Most High. Yahushua, He went and He called Lazarus out of the grave.
Yes.
Right? Until we realize these things that we actually are able to do through His name, we got to go and do it. We can't get sad and fearful.
He's in us, so we have to learn to be one with Him and to walk constantly with Him.
Yeah.
So that will give us the power to do all the things that He did.
Amen.
So
And you can do it wherever you are as you go about along the way. You know, the word is not too far from you. It's not too high in the somewhere in the heavens that you can't grasp it. It's not across the sea that you can't see it. It's in your mouth and in your heart. So we should not fear what the world does to us, right? Because greater is the one that is in us than the one in the world. And who do we fear? So as Matthew 10:28 says, do not fear those who kill the body, but are unable to kill the being, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both the being and the body in Gehenna. Fearing Yahuwah, Elohim.
Yes.
What does it mean to fear Yahuwah?
To do what He wants us to do and
Close.
do what He commands us to do.
Kind of.
Cannot do.
Do not do what he doesn't want us to do. To love Yahuwah is doing what he wants us to do. Right? So let's go to Philippians 1, continuing in this manner. Because for to me, to live is Mashiach, and to die is gain. And if to live in the flesh is to me a fruit of work, then what shall I choose? I do not know. For I am pressed down by the two, having a desire to depart and be with the Messiah, which is much better. But to remain in the flesh is more necessary for your sake. And being persuaded of this, I know that I shall stay and continue with you all for your progress and joy, simcha, of belief. So that your boasting might overflow in Yahushua HaMashiach on account of me, through my coming to you again. Only behave yourselves worthily of the good news of the Messiah, in order that whether I come and see you or am absent, I hear about you, that you stand fast in one spirit, with one being, striving together for the belief of the good news, without being frightened in any way by those who oppose, which to them truly is a proof of destruction, but to you of deliverance, and that from Elohim, because to you it has been given as a favor on behalf of Messiah, not only to believe in him, but also to suffer for his sake, having the same struggle which you saw in me and now here to be in me. I think that captured everything we've been talking about. It's that simple. As we continue in Messiah, we will be persecuted and we have to suffer for his sake. And we will see things that, like Lot in Saddam. It says his being was tortured being in Saddam. And he is called righteous, and that's why he was delivered out of that city. And that is the same stance I believe we are in today. Our beings are being tortured. We have to see things that we know is not of life, it's not of love, life, or of Yahuwah, but we have to endure these things and be a light unto them.
Also, I think being together, like a body, congregation, that helps us in the tribulations, because we are praying one for another, and we are giving us faith, we are encouraging one to another. So that's important, to be together, not to be by ourselves suffering.
Exactly. We're one body together, not individual bodies of Messiah. And so when we come together, we have the fullness, and we need to be there helping each other when one's down, standing up for one another, praying for one another, fasting for one another. And I know some of us fast, but do we all fast?
Yeah. Yes.
No, exactly. We need to do more than what we're doing, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm talking for myself as well, of course. So, my final thoughts on the matter is, no matter what is going on out there in this world, the Spirit of the living Elohim is in you. He has endured more than we can even imagine to give us everlasting life. How can we not be joyful knowing that? It is through trial and tribulation that we can show who we are in Yahushua HaMashiach. How many know that Isaiah got sawed in half and that he didn't even make a sound? It said that he even saw the vision of Yahushua descending the heavens when he was in that, which is why he didn't make a sound. He was placed out of his body. How How many know that John the Beloved got thrown into boiling oil and didn't even get burned? Let these be metaphors for our lives. When we see the world being destroyed around us, let us be like Isaiah, not focusing on the destruction of this world, which is his flesh, our flesh, but see it as the labor pains of the new world to come, in which we are all awaiting and enduring for. When we feel like we are going through the fire, let us not scream in pain or fear, but be like John, who was purified and cleansed like gold through the furnace, who later got to see the full revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach descending with the New Jerusalem. Let us all desire the Spirit more than the flesh and move forward without the hindrance of this world.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Anybody have questions?
No,
Any comments?
Comments, that was short and powerful. I love it. Thank you.
What did you get, Ruben?
Great.
What is, how did this change your life?
Encourage me to be more in God's word to seek His joy and not to be moved about the stuff that we see in the world.
I like that. Right, especially after what happened in Florida and these things are happening. We're already told they're going to happen. And that's why even Revelation starts, I think it's Revelation, it says, so that we would not be offended when these things happen. Right? He tells us beforehand so we won't be offended when it happens. Anybody else? Anything? Yeah.
It was encouraging because to keep in mind that if He's in us, nothing that comes against us will do anything.
Exactly.
Not even the flesh. I mean, like it said, if the flesh dies, then let it be so.
Yeah.
So knowing that the Father is in us, it's very encouraging.
Yes.
Also, everything, if we love Him and we are obedient to Him, of course, we are not perfect, but we look for Him in the morning, at night, every moment our thoughts are in Him. Everything that will come to pass to us, we know that it has a purpose. Even tribulation or everything, every circumstances. So we cannot be despair like the world because we know, okay, He's in control. He knows why this is coming. So that changed the life.
Yes.
Well, can I say something before?
Yeah, please.
And none of this means that you can't get mad or angry or sad and discouraged. We have these emotions for a reason. A lot of times it's because we need to examine ourselves. We need to examine those that are bringing these discouragement to us, and maybe bring reproof to one another, and for all that to bring an encouragement overall.
And we're blessed based on our belief. So if we have this much belief, we can't be blessed this much.
Amen.
Because it's not, we can only be blessed as much as the faith that we have,
Yeah.
and the possibility, the belief. So the more belief that we have in the truths that have been promised us, like you said, it's not so far that you have to go up into the heavens or send somebody there to be for you across this ocean, but it's right here within us now. If that's true, then it's like you said, you can recognize, hey, honey, I missed that exit. It's okay now. You get to the next one and miss the exit. You know what? It's okay. So apparently, let's see what's going to happen. We got something coming out. So we can recognize those things. What belief we have. When we realize that we're used, when we put ourselves out there to be used, and never get upset about any of those types of things. Always recognize, okay, well, what's there to see right now? What's coming up? What's happening at this point? How can I be used? Or what is it that I get to learn? How can I be either one or the other?
Yeah. Amen.
And that's awesome because Bianca apparently was getting a little bothered. And I was pretty calm about it. It didn't really bother me. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I hate driving to LA and under a weather, so I don't go often. So I was like, all right, let's just keep going. And Bianca apparently, she's like, but then she prayed about it and kind of like calmed her down. And then all this wonderful stuff happened. So It's, and we were already tired. We barely slept the day before. We went to Universal Studios. Like, we had a long day, and this is, to me it was icing. It was awesome. Anything else?
I see that what Paul is telling us here is that he had a revelation of who Yahushua is, right? So he's telling us that it doesn't matter if we live or we die, either way, we belong to the Father, right? So, and we're not gonna, for some of us, it's better to die, because we go to the Father and we accomplish anything, everything. But if we live, sometimes it's much better because we can help others the way you did, by serving them, by giving them the word, by giving them the light of the word and everything. And so either way we are, but it's much better when you serve your fellow man.
Yeah, we'll rest when we die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that one is.
Yeah.
Come on.
What did you learn? What did you encourage?
To just be joyful no matter what's going on in life. Even if it's bad, we just have to try to see the positive that's gonna come out of it.
Right. That's about it. Knowing, I think, is a really good word. Knowing that something positive is going to come out of it.
Now, Diego, finish your
Let's hear it, Diego.
Diego.
It's powerful.
What did you hear? Well, at least what did you hear from what Bernie shared? Anything? You're the one left, and then this guy. Anything. Just one word, 2 words.
How you see him in your life? Who he is in your life?
Huh?
He's all knowing.
He's all knowing.
Yeah.
You don't know it.
That's right. I don't think I say that, but it's true. He is all knowing, he's all powerful.
For me, it was, I don't know what verse it is, but that he doesn't put anything in front of us that we can't handle.
Mm.
And so, even for me personally, I guess that when certain things that I struggle in, I know I'm just being, after I process it, or like I said, I was being moved, but then I think once I acknowledge it, then it's having to realize, no, I do have the self-control to go ahead and overcome this trial or overcome it. And like we said earlier, it was, through our trials, we learn something about ourselves, or we learn something about others, and it's being refined, and that sometimes it hurts, but it's to find that joy and to keep our eyes, because he is all knowing, and so everything is for a purpose. And even when you want to be shaken, just to have the faith, and then just to see how he moves. To me, because I used to worry a lot before, and so, but then I would pray or something, and then it would work out perfectly. So then to me, it's just I'm just stressing myself out, and I'm saying all of this stuff, and it's worthless. You just tire yourself out, and so it's like he said, his yoke is easy, and so just to trust on him and to put your burdens on him, then it's easy. You just walk, and then you form that relationship, knowing. You're not shaken anymore. You don't pay attention to your thoughts or to the thoughts to other people, because you know who you are in him. And so I think that gives you joy in overcoming.
I love it. I agree. And
Now we need.
hallelujah, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. God bless you all. Let's close in prayer.
Yes.
But Yahweh, thank you so much for this wonderful time that you allow us to share ideas and thoughts of your word. And we ask that you just continue to engrave them in our hearts and our minds, so that we can truly rely on you in all things, not be going to the left or to the right, but having our eyes straight forth on Yahushua Mashiach, our princely leader, our King of Kings, that is going to guide us and show us how to change, who lives inside of us, who is changing us all the time, molding us into His image. And we praise You for that. We ask that You just bless our congregation, bless those that are not here today, and bless all Your children around this world that are standing up for righteousness. And we ask that any hand going against them, Father, that any of the enemy will just be broken, and that Your Malachim, Your angels, will go forth and bring the divine protection, and in the end bring the unification of the whole body of the Mashiach. We praise You in the name of Yahuwah, Yahushua HaMashiach, Melchizedek, priest. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.